Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and the beautiful and highly useful lotus is so incredibly interesting that this is probably gonna be quite a long video. Well, in Germany and in most of Europe, people, their contact with lotus is, their direct contact with lotus is not very pronounced. The desiccated fruits are often being used in rats for graves and similar purposes, but most people who buy them, I guess they don't even know that those things and those fruits are actually lotus. Also, we get like lotus paintings in Chinese restaurants and stuff. Lotus something is like a cliche East Asian name, but for parts of Asia, and also other tropical and subtropical areas, but mostly Asia, the lotus is incredibly important. It's a beautiful flower. It brings beauty to even the most disgusting places. It is of incredible religious significance, and it's an important agricultural crop, a very important one. This beautiful flower is feeding millions of people, and that's just the start of all its story. Well, where should we start? So, lotus, there seem to be only two species, Nelumbo nucifera in Asia and Nelumbo lutea in the Americans. I think I've seen Nelumbo lutea in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't research anything before I did the video, so please feel free to describe any mistakes I'm doing. Well, this is the Asian lotus, Nelumbo nucifera. Of all the things that they could put into the name nucifera, the nut-bearing is the most important feature of this plant they could think of. Well, where should we start with this plant? Let's start at the root. It grows in swamps and lakes and ponds, and yeah, it grows even, as I said, in the most disgusting places. And it grows from a big rhizome, which I don't want to rip out now, which is actually the most important edible part of the lotus. If you see a thing in Asian shops which looks like a string of sausages, and inside those sausages are a lot of holes, like inside Swiss cheese, that's lotus rhizome. As I said, the most important edible part. You can also eat the stalks and the young leaves, although they are quite spiny. Yeah, in Asian swamps a lot of stuff is spiny. And you know what's also very interesting about the edible leaves? You can put water on them, or even the dirtiest mud, and it comes off without any trace. This is called the lotus effect. It was described at the time in the 20th century, and actually a guy went to a couple investors and said, I want like a couple $100,000 or a couple $1 million in order to develop this stuff. You know, on lotus leaves, I looked at them under the microscope, and they have wax on them. The wax keeps them clean, but there are also a lot of other leaves with wax, and they don't stay clean like the lotus. The lotus is the Hinduistic and Buddhistic and in some other Asian religions symbol of purity, because it can grow out of the ugliest sewer, but it comes out of the dirtiest sewer completely clean and unblemished. And I looked at this stuff, and yeah, this wax, it forms like little papillae, it forms little bumps and little scaly bumps which keep the plant clean. The potential investors, they laughed at him. How can it be that wax? I mean, wax makes everything dirty. Imagine when the candle drops somewhere, everything is getting dirty and very hard to clean. And also, how should bumpy things stay cleaner than smooth things? Stuff has to be smooth, like glass, like china, to be kept clean. Not bumpy and not covered with dirty wax. They kicked him out. And so, the development of this lotus-based science was delayed by decades. Nowadays, it's a multi-billion industry. Imagine stuff that doesn't get dirty. People pay a lot of money for it. Okay, I mean, you can wash your dishes, you can wash your car, but imagine like stuff you don't want to get dirty, like airplanes or stuff that's very expensive to clean. Cleaning a big skyscraper can cost millions a year. And with the Lotus effect, you save a lot of this money. So now, making bumpy, waxy surfaces on stuff is a multi-billion industry. Producing Lotus, in Asia you have a lot of swamps which produce Lotus, is also a multi-billion industry which feeds many million people with the tasty rhizome. And also, of course, you can grow fish and other things in this pot. You cannot grow fish in a wheat field, but you can grow fish in a lotus pond. So I've seen a lot of those lotus ponds in East Asia, especially in really wet areas where it's difficult to keep your field dry. No, we don't keep it dry, we keep it wet. We make a dam around the field and then we grow rice or lotus or some other stuff that grows in the water. Nice stuff. The flowers are not only religious symbols, you can also use them. You can also just sell them to random people because they are among the most beautiful flowers and they're also very big. Unfortunately, flowering season is over, but fortunately there are fruits at many different stages of ripening. Actually, in Asia you also get sold those fruits in huge amounts. Look at this one. This one has a lot of seeds. However, those are a little bit small. No, those seeds are unfertilized. They are not good. What about those here? The lotus fruit is a big sponge. Why is it a sponge? Well, when it falls off, it can float in the water, and while it floats, it slowly releases the seeds over many kilometers. And those seeds, oh come on, this still seems to be an unpollinated seed. Now, okay, let's try fruits of every age. Here on the Cote Azur, it might be that they are not so well pollinated. Here all of them are unpollinated. All of them unpollinated. One could be pollinated. Let's see. At least it's big. Nope. I think I see a pollinated one in this fruit. See this big fat seed? This looks almost, this only looks almost like they're supposed to look. They're supposed to look even thicker. There's some sort of ediblish flesh there, but it's much too small. I don't even see the embryo. The embryo is important. Not only... Oh, no. This is not tasty. Not only is it important for the consumption of the fruit, it's also very important for the... Of course, it is the reason why the plant produces those fruits. Come on, folks. It doesn't seem to be... here. There are at least two, which could be good. Here you can see the spongy material. You can imagine that this can swim quite far. Okay, let's see. No. I think I've made recently a couple of failed lotus foraging videos. What about this one? No. Folks, can you tell me why those things don't produce edible seeds in the Cote d'Azur? The climate is clearly warm enough for them to grow and thrive here. They get really big and tall. They are taller than 2 meters, taller than me. They produce beautiful big fruits, and lots of those too, but not a single properly pollinated seed. And in other botanic gardens on the Cote d'Azur, I think I've seen properly pollinated seeds, but I haven't tried them. So please, folks, tell me your opinion on this beautiful and great plant and beautiful and great fruit. Yeah, the fruit is beautiful. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't import millions of them to Europe to use them for decoration. Tell me your opinion on the lotus. Have you ever eaten it? Which part and how? Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and incredibly fruit-rich Cote d'Azur. Most of them, some of the fruits are even edible. And of course, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.